Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1532B, and today's date is March 29th, 2018, and the title of the episode is The Great Awakening is Here. The choice is yours. Let's get into the economic collapse, political and geopolitical news. Well, it's not looking good for Facebook, and the FTC officials, they're saying that this might cost Facebook hundreds of millions of dollars in fines for breaching a 2011 consent agreement to protect user data. And basically, they might be fined $40,000 per violation per day. And the bill is going to add up very, very quickly. Now, under the terms of the 2011 agreement with the FTC, Facebook was barred from making deceptive privacy claims and was bound to get users' consent before sharing their data. The agreement also required third-party auditing of Facebook's privacy practices for 20 years and required the company to delete users' data within 30 days of account deactivation. Now, the FTC, they're investigating whether they adhered to this 2011 agreement with the FTC. Guess what? I don't think they did. I think they were doing whatever they wanted to do, and they're most likely in violation of this agreement. And this is what is being investigated right now. And if you notice, all of a sudden they had the ability to turn on these options to say, hey, you can delete your data. I think they were there all the time. I think they just never used them. They hid them. And I think they created them back in 2011 to allow users to delete their data, but they hid them from the public to make sure that no one did actually delete their information because they wanted to sell it. Now, you think that Facebook knows a lot about you. Well, Google is much, much worse. Google's data archive is almost 10 times larger than Facebook's. Now, Google constantly tracks people's location in the background, including how long it took to travel between various points. They know your hobbies, your interests, your weight, your income. They know a lot about you. So what does your data file hold? Well, it holds every search made, even if it's been cleared from your browser or device for history. Every event in the Google Calendar, including whether you attend. Every location you have visited, including how long it took you to get there. Every image file you have downloaded. Every file you've uploaded to Google Drive. Every Google Fit workout you've done. Every photo you have taken, including metadata. Every ad you've ever viewed or clicked on. Every marketing topic that might interest you, based on factors like your age, gender, location, web activity. Every app you've ever searched for, installed, or launched. Even if you deleted all this stuff, the information's still there. Even with the pictures. Even the pictures you took and deleted, still there. Every YouTube video you've ever searched for or watched. Every email you sent or received included deleted messages and spam. Every text that you sent with pictures and everything else. Even if you deleted them, they have it. Every messenger message you have sent or received, every Facebook friend you have connected with, this is with Facebook, every Facebook voice call you've made, every smartphone contact, every text message sent or received. They know all of it. YouTube history. Well, they know what videos you've visited and watched. They know your political beliefs, your religious beliefs, your mental and physical health issues, because they correlate all this data. They collect it in the database. So if you looked up a video talking about, say, diabetes or high blood pressure, and then you went to another site to figure out, I need to cure this with a home remedy, they know this. They're putting all the information together. So this is what the intelligence agencies use to spy on the American people. This is what we've been talking about all along, on how they're watching everyone. And of course, they have different algorithms to flag certain people. And this is basically what has been happening here in the United States and across the globe. And now it looks like it's going to be shut down. And it looks like all these companies, their illegal activities, the agreements that they had, are now going to be investigated. We see right now Hillary Clinton's having a very tough time with her speaking engagements. Before, she was making like $300,000 for every speech that she took. Like back in UCLA, back in 2014, she made a speech for $300,000. Well, now she just received a massive cut to her speaking engagements, and it has dropped by 90%. So what is happening here, they are catching on of what is going on. They realize that investigations are happening, and all these speaking engagements, they're drying up right now. This should tell you something. Now, leaked text suggests that Obama, the CIA, FBI, launched a Trump-Russia probe. Now, congressional investigators are looking into the origins of Special Counsel Mueller's probe, which they believe they found a smoking gun that could justify the appointment of a special counsel to investigate whether Obama exerted undue influence over the FBI. Now, they looked at the text messages between the FBI agent Peter Strzok and the Department of Justice lawyer Lisa Page, and what they found was that there was an involvement between Dennis McDonough, Obama's chief of staff, and John Brennan, Obama's CIA director, and former state majority leader Harry Reid, which all these individuals helped create an atmosphere of paranoia that gave them the political cover to launch the Russia probe back in summer of 2016. Now, the text between Strzok and Page strongly suggests coordination between the White House, two independent intelligence agencies, and a Democratic congressional leader. And this would then contradict the Obama administration's claim of non-involvement. So what we're seeing here is that more and more investigations are going to be opened up into what is really going on here, and it looks like it's Obama's turn. Now, the Department of Justice Inspector General Michael Horowitz announced that he's expanding his internal investigation into the alleged FBI abuses surrounding the FISA applications and will be examining their relationship with former MI6 spy Christopher Steele. The announcement follows several requests from lawmakers and Attorney General Jeff Sessions. So they'll be looking at all of this stuff, and they're going to find out quite a bit. Now, we see investigations happening all over the place, and I believe this is going to continue, and a lot of information is going to be presented to the public, and we're going to see indictments. Now, a real investigation takes time. It's not the type of investigation you see on the TV shows or when they have a false flag where they say this kid did it and all of a sudden they have a jury, a trial, and he's convicted. That's all staged. A real investigation where you're looking through all documentation, you're looking for the money and how it flows, on who contacted who, and you're trying to put together a case. It doesn't happen overnight, because you need to make sure that you investigate this properly. Not where they say, oh, there was a cyber attack, and 3 days later they say, we figured it all out, it's North Korea. No, they didn't figure anything out. This was all set up. And this is what is happening right now. It's almost like the Skripal case, where this was the poisoning of Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia, where they said, oh, we found all the information. I mean, what? They were poisoned somehow, and they came to the conclusion it was Russia. There was no investigation. There was no link. There was no, anything done there to show evidence that, yes, they have all the information. Because if they did have all the information and had all the evidence, they had all the links, they would have handed this over to Russia because there'd be nothing to hide. But they didn't do that. What's very interesting about this case is that Yulia, well, she's no longer on the critical list, and it looks like she's improving rapidly, and she might regain the ability to talk. Now, if she does wake up and she starts to speak, and she says, oh, this is what really happened, the UK, the rest of the world who has been expelling Russian diplomats, they're going to be in trouble. Now, will they let her wake up? Will they put her back into a coma? Will we hear that, oh, she relapsed and it doesn't look good right now? Maybe. Now, remember, Yulia is a Russian citizen, and they will not let Russia have any involvement with her. And this is, once again, something they're trying to hide. You wouldn't have to do this as everything is on the up and up. Now, it looks like Kim Jong-un made his trip to China. The trip to China was very successful, and this was the first stage. And Q said something very important. Why was this trip so important? Why was this different now? And why did he have to go to China in person? Well, there are two reasons. One, if he made a phone call, they're worried about eavesdropping where maybe the phone call was not secure. So he made the trip to China. That's one reason. The second reason why Kim Jong-un never left the country before is because they were always afraid, he was always afraid, that once he left, those individuals, those deep operatives within North Korea would have regime change. He left the country now knowing that there would not be regime change. And that is that is a huge difference today, where he can travel without being in that, in that situation where once he left and he came back, it's no longer his country. Now, it looks like North and South Korea, they're set to meet at the DMZ on April 27th for an historic summit. And once again, it looks like for the first time since the Korean War broke out in 1948, a North Korean leader will cross the DMZ to attend the meeting, which is going to be set and going to be held in South Korea. Now, as a reminder, the U.S. and the North Korean government are going to speak, and they're going to hold a meeting at the DMZ, and this is set for May. So we see right now things are progressing. The cabal, the deep state, they have lost their boogeyman. The North Korean government, their nuclear program, they have lost the scary monster. Think about that for a second. Now, we talked about how the troops are going to be coming home from Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and I do believe this is going to lead up to the November 11th parade that Q has been talking about, that Trump wants to have. Now, what's very interesting is that Trump came out and he was giving a speech in Richfield, Ohio, and he talked about what is happening in Syria. And he said that we are beating the Islamic State, which is really Russia, who's really doing all the work. And there's no reason to keep the troops in Syria anymore. He said we spent $7 trillion in the Middle East. He said he was completely against this. And what is going to happen right now is that all the troops are going to be coming out of Syria very, very soon. He said, let other people take care of it now. Maybe like the Russians. And this is exactly what's going to happen. I know the corporate media was out there, other alternative media stations were out there saying that, troops are building. Remember, that is the cabal, the deep state. The corporate media is the mouthpiece of the deep state. Now, when they say, oh, we have troops going in there, we're never going to leave Syria, it's impossible to beat the Islamic State, they're doing this for a reason. What's happening in the background is completely different. And we talked about how the troops will be moving out of each and every one of these countries. And I would bet that Syria, those troops in there, the U.S. troops, and same thing in Iraq, they'll be moving out of there in 2 to 3 months. And I'm going to say that they're all going to be moving out of there before November 11th, because the parade is going to show we have brought our troops home. And here is the first sign. Listen to Trump and what he says.
We spent, and I was against it from the beginning. They try and say, well, maybe not. I was against it from the beginning. And by the way, we're knocking the hell out of ISIS. We'll be coming out of Syria like very soon. Let the other people take care of it now. Very soon. Very soon we're coming out. We're going to have 100% of the caliphate, as they call it, sometimes referred to as land. We're taking it all back quickly. But we're going to be coming out of there real soon. Going to get back to our country, where we belong, where we want to be.
Now, I wanted to talk about what is happening in the corporate media, the mainstream media. And what's very interesting is John Stossel was out there and he did a report about people taking the red versus blue pill. And why are people, why are they moving away from the mainstream media? Why do they want to know the truth? And Q came out and said, it's a Matrix reference. Coincident? I don't think so. And I think this is the beginning stages of the Great Awakening, of waking people up. And you got to do it very, very slowly. It's time for people to wake up and to take the red pill. And we need to go into the movie and understand what is really happening here. It's not just, I take the red pill, I'm awake, blue pill, I'm still sleeping. Think about what was said in the movie. It's very important because it tells you what is going to happen. Now, Morpheus explains to Neo that the Matrix is an illusionary world created to prevent humans from discovering that they are slaves to an external influence. Think about what is happening here. We are slaves to an external influence. And of course, Morpheus held out 2 capsules, showed them to Neo, and Neo had to make a choice. He said, this is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. Those people who don't want to wake up right now, who want to stay in this illusionary world, they can do it, but there's going to be ramifications. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes, how deep the deep state is. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more. Now, the red pill is going to free people from that enslaving control of the machine-generated dream world. Same thing here today. It's going to free the people of what they've been brainwashed to believe. And it will allow the people to escape into the real world. But living the truth of reality is harsher and more difficult. On the other hand, the blue pill will lead him back to stay in a comfortable, simulated reality of the Matrix. And remember, the red pill is a one-way trip. You can't go back. Even though in the movie Cypher, he didn't like the truth. It was too hard, didn't like it, wanted to be put back into the illusionary world where he can pretend to live. Well, people are going to have to make a choice right now. And once they do, it's going to be very difficult because the truth is hard. The truth is real. The truth is hard. And it's hard to live in the truth once you know the lie. This is why when Neo learned about the truth, he couldn't handle it. He popped. I think a lot of people, they're going to have a very difficult time. And they're not going to be able to handle what is happening. They're going to get angry. They're going to get pissed off. They're going to do research. And this is the Great Awakening. Now, Q also wanted us to look at CEOs, government officials who have been resigning. And let me tell you, there are a lot of CEOs that have resigned since the latter part of 2017. And I mean, PepsiCo CEO resigned on October 9th, 2017. Samsung, Red Cross, Podesta Group, Tony Podesta, October 30th, 2017. Renaissance Technology. I mean, the list goes on, and there's many, many CEOs who are resigning right now. The London Stock Exchange CEO, Xavier Rollet, November 28th, they know what is coming. Just like Zuckerberg started to sell off his stocks, I wouldn't be surprised if he resigns from Facebook. So we can see right now, we are headed towards a great awakening. Those people who are corrupt, who have been cooperating with the deep state, who have been doing things illegally, they're going to try to escape. We're also going to see, the human trafficking, the sex cults, and things like that pop up. And this is a very big industry in Hollywood, in government, in Washington, and it will be exposed. Actually, Keith Rainier and his group, which is Nexium, they were put into the spotlight because guess what? They were running a sex cult. And he fled to Mexico. He was arrested, charged with sex trafficking. And basically, he was branding his women. And there were two brands. I mean, if you look at the symbols, one of the symbols was with his initials on it, and another symbol was with someone else's initials. And it looks like they were branding women. And of course, what was being done in this organization was completely opposite of what was really happening. The women who joined the Albany-based group were told it was a self-help organization meant to empower them. The organization site described it as a community guided by humanitarian principles that seek to empower people and answer important questions about what it means to be human. Instead, they say they were referred to as slaves and subject to ritual humiliations and even branding. They were also allegedly told to starve themselves to achieve Rainier's standard of beauty and to have sex with him. Now, it looks like Senator Gillibrand's father, Doug Rutnick, was tied to the alleged sex cult leader, Keith Rainier. And Rutnick was hired as a lobbyist for Rainier in 2004 and was later sued by him. And again, Senator Gillibrand is saying she never heard of the group until she recently read about it in the newspapers. And we can see that this is a huge scandal. Now, Q's, the Great Awakening board, it looks like it was hacked into. It looks like Code Monkey was locked out of the Great Awakening. Great Awakening is dead. They're setting up a new board, and this most likely will be ready in the next day or so. And it looks like the deep state is very worried about Q and what is being put out there, and it looks like they're trying to stop him. This is why the FBI opened up an investigation. And once again, you can see that things are really reaching a point where they're very, very nervous and afraid. And basically, Q is saying that they are terrified. They are in panic mode. They're very nervous. And he's also putting out there, or she, or the group of people, that Hillary Rodham Clinton, the video and the information from 2/12/09, or the recording, is very, very bad. And they're collecting all this information to put out there. And once it is out there, people are going to hear the truth. And I believe this is why they're out there talking about taking the red pill compared to the blue pill, because I think the process right now is waking people up. And I think we need to wake people up before all this evidence is presented, because you know what happens when you present this evidence? People don't believe right away. They say it's fake, it's funny. It's almost like when Trump came out and said, Obama was spying on me. What did the public do? Everyone said, oh, he's crazy, this is ridiculous. And then we come to find out it's completely true. And now there's investigations going on into FISA, into what they've really done. When people talked about the Clinton email, everyone said it was all made up. It's all fake, phony, and false. Now it turns out there was a cover-up. And now there's an investigation. Same thing with the Uranium One deal. So as you can see, you need to wake people up first. And I think this is the beginning stages, because when everything starts to hit, people are going to have a way to handle what is being thrown at them. And they're going to have to understand what is going on. And I think this is the beginning stages of waking people up. And once again, once they take the red pill, there is no turning back. And the truth is a lot harder than living in an illusionary world. And a lot of people, their belief system is going to be compromised, and they're not going to understand what is going on. And this is coming very, very soon. As we can see, the troops are going to be returning from the Middle East. Trump has already made the announcement. You know it's going to happen in the next couple of weeks, or maybe next month. You know it's all going to happen before November 11th. I know people didn't believe this. I know people were writing into me that I'm completely crazy. Look at this article. Look at that article. Troops are going in there. No, the opposite is happening. Just like the opposite was happening in North Korea. Same thing is going to happen in Iran. He's not creating a war cabinet. It's to have peace with Iran, to get those operatives, to get everything smoothed out in this area. We can't go to war with Iran. We have the same problem. China, Russia. Trump knows this. He doesn't want to have war with China and Russia. Yes, the deep state does. He doesn't. And we see right now that all of this is happening very, very quickly. The system is going to be transitioned very, very quickly because they're going to be cutting off the funding to the deep state. Then they're going to remove the central banking system or take it under their control, just like Putin did. And this is going to happen very, very quickly. And we can see that everything is accelerating. Everything is being set up. All the executive orders, everything that you're seeing is all being set up for this. And what Q has been saying is by November 11th, all of this is going to be taken care of. So you can see how we move throughout this time period, how everything is shaping up and taking form and moving in that direction. And this is why this is the Great Awakening. This is why he's mentioning the Matrix. This is why he's mentioning the blue pill, the red pill, because it is time. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.